It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday, yeah. Hi, welcome into Let's Bet It. Lauren Javar here with Jared Smith. Jared, how are ya? It's the freaking weekend almost. It's Memorial Day weekend. You feeling good? Refreshed?
Not really. I went 0-4 with the picks I gave out on the show yesterday. So
Okay,
I feel a little bit butthurt. Like I got whipped around. Although to be fair, can I have like a 30-second therapy sesh here? Dallas freaking Keuchel gets lit up like a Christmas tree, 6 runs in 2 innings, and of course he goes over a strikeout prop. It was 3.5, went under, he got 4, and then he got pulled. He didn't even pitch the third. Like, he struck out 2 guys in the first, 2 guys in the second, all sandwiched around, home run, double, triple, all these runs scored by the Red Sox. And, of course, he doesn't hit his K-prop under. And Hyunjin Ryu goes 5 innings, pitches great against the Angels, and strikes out 1 measly batter. Like, what's going on here, baseball gods? Can I get a break? Can I catch a break here? Like,
do you want to know what we say about that?
One of those rough nights. So hopefully the baseball betting gods are kinder to me
tonight. I hate
tonight.
to see it. We say about that, you hate to see it. You really do. But you know what? Just because you hit rock bottom, that means there's only one way to go from there. And that's up. And it's okay. I only won one of my 3 hockey bets yesterday. So not the best day for my What the Puck segment. But you know what? What the Puck was up with that. We're going to come back stronger today with a big game with the Avs taking on the Blues. Cannot wait to break that one down. We also have Better Up, our MLB segment. Then we have Brian Scalabrine coming on, obviously, to break down his Celtics playing in Game 6 in Boston against the Miami Heat, which What the Puck is up with the Miami Heat in their offensive play recently, because that hasn't been exceptionally fun to watch. So we're going to break it all down today. Lots to get to. But before we do, guys, make sure you read the Pickswise, say that 5 times fast. Pickswise, Wise and Shine pamphlet. I can't even say it without having a bad face. Pickswise, Wise and Shine newsletter. Free and provides everything that you need to know about your morning betting. So make sure to check that out. There's going to be a link in the YouTube stream. And you can start your day with a betting email. Why not? Wise and Shine with us, baby. Wise and Shine. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Okay, let's get right into it. Let's bet it with our MLB bets. YRFIs and NRFIs. We always start with no runs yet first inning and yes runs first inning. The YRFIs, yes runs first inning, went 7-4 yesterday. They're still at about 50% on the season, 333 and 332. And again, Jared, it really surprises me that these YRFIs and NRFIs are saying consistently around the 50% mark. It is wild. This is the 4th straight day that we've crossed over 50% on either side. Now, some notable streaks that we have in our Google sheet. Philadelphia has 6 straight yes run first innings, YRFIs. Boston has 3 straight YRFIs, and they've scored in all 3. And then the Chicago Cubs, 3 straight YRFIs, and they scored in all 3. So just some things to be looking out for moving forward, looking at these YRFIs and NRFIs, because obviously we're looking for the best value here. You're not just betting a YRFI or a NRFI. That's extremely juiced. I know you have 2 of them on your card tonight.
Yes, I do. Let's start with the Yankees and the Rays. YRFI plus 115. Jameson Taillon's been pretty good to the NRFI this season. He's only allowed to run 1 time in his first 8 starts. 0 times in his 3 road starts. But if you take a closer look, his expected FIP, 4.5 in the opening frame compared to 2.75 actual FIP. So I would say getting a little lucky, and that's kind of my process here. We look for guys with a higher expected FIP or a higher expected ERA than their actual FIP or their actual ERA, because it shows that there could be some positive regression to the yes. On the other side, Jeffrey Springs, not a big sample size on him, but he's a lefty. He is 3-1 to the NRFI this season, 1-1 at home. He's only made 4 starts. He's one of those relievers that the Rays have stretched out into a starter. Started the season as a reliever. Now he's starting games. So again, not a ton of sample size on him in the first inning, but he's not typically a starter. He's had more outings as a reliever this year than as a starter. And the Yankees hit lefties very well. They have the 4th highest WRC plus against left-handed pitching this season. And last night, if you were watching the Yankees Rays game, it was scoreless until the 6th inning. The Yankees scored all 7 of their runs in the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th inning, and teams combined for 5 runs in the 9th. The Yankees scored 3, the Rays scored 2. So I like the momentum to carry over into today's game. And Jameson Taillon does not have good numbers in one career start at the Trop, which is a bit of a weird place to play. Weird sight lines, weird angles, and he got lit up. He gave up 4 runs.
And no fans there either. And also no fans there at all. There's like 10 people.
There will be fans there for this game because everyone in Tampa is Yankees fans. So I heard they were actually sold out this weekend. I heard they were sold out this weekend, actually. I know. Yeah, and only when the Yankees and the Red Sox are in town. But they do get a good draw when the Yankees are in town. So we'll go plus 115 to the yes. I got this at MGM. I'm also going to take another crack. And the Tigers. I bet the Tigers NRFI twice this season. They have scored runs in both innings. They've only scored runs in 4 games all year, and I bet on half of them to the NRFI.
That's crazy. Let's go.
It is. So we're going to reverse course tonight, and we're going to bet the YRFI in Detroit between the Guardians and the Tigers. And I know I looked at the sheet, and I know that you like your boy Shane Bieber tonight. I'm going to tell you why I think that's not a great bet. I think Shane Bieber is a fade until further notice. So he missed most of last year with a shoulder injury, and he's come back this year, and his numbers have not been good. His average fastball velocity has dipped from 92.8 to 90.7. That is over a 2-mile-an-hour difference, and that is a noticeable difference with a guy like Bieber who relies on that fastball a lot. He has the highest expected ERA of his career at 4.2 and the lowest K per nine of his career at 9.07. Now, on the other side, there's two sides to a coin. There's 2 sides to a YRFI. Alex Faedo, 5.66 expected ERA overall this season with a 3.0 actual ERA. Now, these 2 pitchers are combined 10-2 to the NRFI this season. They have been solid. Bieber 5-0 on the road. Faedo is 3-0 at home. 2-0 at home. But I'm just kind of fading what I'm seeing with Bieber. So I'm doubling up on this game. Not only am I betting the YRFI, I'm also betting the over 3.5 runs in the first 5 innings at minus 115 over at MGM. So I am kind of pushing some chips into the middle tonight that Bieber is overpriced where his stuff is compared to where he's being priced. And I think the Tigers lineup, even though they've really struggled in the first inning this year, they scored yesterday. And I think they've got a chance to score again today. So we'll take a chance that there's going to be some runs in Detroit tonight between the Guardians and the Tigers.
The beautiful thing about this is all of us can hit our props because I'm on Shane Bieber over 6.5 strikeouts in this game. And I know you don't necessarily love that bet, but you look at some of the stats that he's been putting up. He's gone over this total in 4 of his last 5 starts. He had 10 strikeouts against the Tigers in his last start. And the Tigers have been absolutely struggling against righties. They have a strikeout rate right now of 27.2% over the last 2 weeks. That's the 2nd worst in baseball. Last time I checked, that ain't great. They also have an 84 WRC plus over that time. So for me, the over 6.5 strikeouts looks good, but I can hit my over 6.5 strikeouts, and you can also hit your first 5 over 3.5 and your YRFI. So let's keep our fingers crossed to the baseball gods that hits. You're also on a strikeout prop today too, but an under, not necessarily an over.
Yes, I love this one today. I was close to making this my best bet of the day. I like the other one that I chose a little more, which we'll get into later. Brad Keller, under 4.5 strikeouts. I laid 40 cents over at the Westgate. He's projected for a flat 4, which is, I would say, slightly elevated compared to how I would usually play it. Usually I don't play a strikeout prop unless it's 1 projection higher or lower than what the actual number is. But I just look at Keller's numbers, and he's not a strikeout pitcher. He stayed under 4.5 in 6 straight starts, 10th percentile K rate, 11th percentile whiff rate this season, and the lowest K per nine of his career at just over 5. And when I take a closer look at his stuff, average fastball velocity has dropped almost a full mile per hour, 94.2 last year, 93.5 this year. But it's the changeup that really makes me believe his strikeout stuff is deteriorating. So the average spin rate on his changeup has dropped dramatically this season. And last year, that was his put-away pitch. He threw that pitch 25% of the time in put away situations, down to 10% this year. And the whiff rate has dropped from 26% to 19% on the changeup. So I don't know what's going on with his changeup. Maybe it's just, he's throwing it differently, or he's not throwing it the same way. I don't know. But the changeup pitch, which was a big time put away pitch for him, has dropped dramatically. And that's why I think this is going to stay under 4.5. Also, he's facing a Twins lineup tonight that is kind of average in strikeout percentage this year. But when you take a closer look, in April, 25%. In May, 20%. So they're starting to get their druthers about them, this Twins lineup. And I feel like this is going to go under 4.5 tonight. It's juicy at minus 140, but I feel confident Brad Keller stays under 4.5 Ks.
Okay, so I have an over 6.5 K. You have an under 4.5 K. Go through your slate one more time for me before we bring in Scal.
Yeah, good call. All right, Cleveland, Detroit, over 3.5 first 5. I laid 15 cents at MGM. Cleveland, Detroit, YRFI, plus 120, also at MGM. Brad Keller, under 4.5 strikeouts at minus 140. Yankees, Rays, YRFI, plus 115 at MGM. I will also give you a couple of other half a unit plays that I'm considering. I'm taking a look. I haven't gotten there yet because I just didn't have time. And I am interested in the Rockies, Nats, NRFI at plus 110 over at Bet365.
Okay.
I would take a hard look at that. And I don't think there's really anything else that I'm interested in right now, but if there is, I'll tweet it out. So,
okay. Jared, one of our final teams for the NBA is officially set after last night. The other team could be set after tonight. For more on that little NBA talk, let's take it to the court with our guy, Brian Scalabrine. Bring in Brian Scal. Scal, how are we doing today? Are you feeling pretty good heading into Game 6? Because Game 5, no offense to your Celtics, just was not a great performance necessarily by either team.
I mean, let me explain something really quick. When you're in a wrestling match with a bear, if somehow you could survive and still be alive after halfway through that wrestling match, I feel like you're in a really good position moving forward. So no one expects the Celtics to win the wrestling match, but we do expect them to open up the floor talent-wise and get it going. I give Miami a lot of credit, and I give the Celtics a lot of credit. 90% of teams would have tapped out dealing with that wrestling match, that ugliness, like the game that was Game 5 first half, and the Celtics just kept going. I'll call my team out in a second, but I thought that took a lot of guts, a lot of heart, a lot of mental toughness to get through that and to consistently think like we are just better than them. If we can survive onslaught of physical play, we know we're better. I expect that tonight. I'm not sure how much the onslaught of physical play I expect from the Miami Heat today. But Jared, I want to first apologize for telling you I thought the game was going to go over. I thought Eric Spoelstra was going to go wide open. I was like, why would you think you can just play that physical game with the Celtics? There's got to be a better way. I was wrong. Spoelstra decided to do it, and ultimately he was wrong for trying to do it that way. But I thought the over would hit, and I apologize for that.
You don't have to apologize, Cal. That game was so brutal to watch from a viewing standpoint. I'm actually glad that at halftime I was already convinced it was staying under because I didn't have to even watch the second half. So to me, when you look at this series, we're always trying to find those little discrepancies in the market. And I think I found one tonight. And I'm very fascinated to get your opinion on it because I'm close to putting a lot on this, but I might only put a little on it if you don't give me your blessing here. But we talked about this the other day. Jason Tatum is still minus 165 at MGM to be the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He's minus 220 at FanDuel. He's minus 215 at DraftKings. The Celtics are minus 1,100 to win this series. That's over 90% implied odds. The Celtics are winning this series. So now we have to ask ourselves, who is going to be the MVP? Is it going to be Jason Tatum, averaging 23.8, 7.8, and 5.7 in the series? Jaylen Brown's the only other guy it can even become close to becoming. 25, 7.62. To me, there is not enough of a difference between Tatum and Brown to say, okay, it's definitely going to be Tatum. But if you think there's a massive gap there between Tatum and Brown, we got to go take out some money, take out the mortgage, and go put it on Jason Tatum to win this Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Because to me, this bet is one we need to make based off of what the odds are telling me.
All right, so let's do some math to figure this out. All right, so let's use $1,000. I'm not saying that's what you will do or won't do. So you risk $1,600 to win 1,000, like 1,650 to win 1,000. All right.
Yeah.
All right. How much would it cost you to insure the Al Horford $1,600 bet? So you're not going to lose by using Al Horford.
Yeah. Let me go look at Horford's odds, because I honestly didn't even look at Horford just because of where the rest of the guys are priced. Like, usually the market's pretty set on this in terms of.
I know NBA writers sometimes they see it the way I see it sometimes.
Al Horford's 70-1.
So how much would that cost for you to insure?
Actually, 80-1. So if you put, I'm just going to put it in $100 terms. If I put $165 to win 100 on Jason Tatum, $5 on Al Horford would win me 400. So you need like $2 really to protect yourself.
So all I would say to you is just put some insurance out there. That's it. Okay. That's it. But I don't. That's I think you're right. But for such a low amount, like if Al Horford, you're talking about before the series, if Al Horford goes for 20-15 and he's great defensively, and Tatum doesn't play well yet, Celtics still win, there is a chance that it could happen. And I would just insure that bet. I don't think they go Jaylen Brown. I don't think they go Marcus Smart, Derek White. I don't think Robert Williams. I think Al Horford is the insurance policy that you have to watch out for. That's it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Before we get too far into the Heat Celtics game tonight, because obviously we have our picks on our bets. I'm on 2 props. I'm also on the game spread. Scal, I know you probably have a couple bets. Let's go over last night just really briefly and talk about the Warriors officially moving on to the NBA Finals over the Mavs. Who do you think, what did you see from the Warriors yesterday, and who do you think is a better matchup for the Warriors moving forward into the Finals, the Heat or the Celtics?
For the Warriors? Yeah, Heat. Mm-hmm. They can't score. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be them. It's going to be Boston. It's going to be Miami. So I don't want to discredit the question or anything like that. But the Celtics Golden State series is going to be amazing because everything we know, just take it, crumple it up, and throw it out. Like the Celtics defense is spot on to guard the Warriors. The Warriors offense is like nothing that the Celtics have seen so far. So you have this crazy movement, the ball movement. You have players who have been there that are not afraid, who are extending legacies versus players who have not been there, who are are establishing legacies. This is like such a compelling series for so many different ways. You have 2 cities that the fan bases are nuts, and this is a great series. So if the Celtics take care of business, I will say this: before I pick who wins, if the Celtics do not win tonight, they will not win the finals. If they have to go back to Miami and wrestle with that bear again and cut the extra 3 days off, the emotional toll that it takes, the injuries that they're already piling up, that they need to rest. They've been playing every other night ever since the Milwaukee series. They need this win tonight. When it's like, obviously, it's not a must-win because their back's against the wall. And I bet you the odds makers will play that. Like, if you look at the Warriors' odds to win right now, they're thinking the Celtics are going to win. If Miami were to win this game, I guarantee you the odds improve for the Golden State Warriors. So if you're thinking the Warriors are going to win and somehow Miami's going to pull a rabbit out of their hat, then you better jump on that Warrior bet right now because it's going to go the other way if the Celtics were to lose this game right here.
Well, the odds say that the Celtics are not going to lose this game tonight.
No.
Favored by 9.
I don't think.
By the way, before we put a bow on the Warriors, you apologized earlier for the bad bet on the over in the Celtics Heat game. Thank you for that. But you deserve a lot of praise because not a lot of people back in April were coming on any show and saying that the Warriors were going to win the West. That was not a bet a lot of people were making. We made it. You told me to make it. I got a nice payout last night at 5-1. So you deserve, and I'm sure there's a ton of people that follow us every day that also cashed that ticket last night. So great job there. All right, now let's get into the action tonight. I saw a note this morning, unbelievable, but how about this? 20 consecutive NBA playoff games. The winner has also covered the spread this postseason.
Wow.
75-9 in the playoffs. So 84 playoff games. There's been 75 winners that have also covered the spread. So we say this all the time. By the way, the last team that has won a game and not covered the spread in the playoffs, last round, game 4, the Grizz Warriors series. So we say this a lot. Oh, the spread's too big. They're going to win and not cover. Yeah. That is a myth. That is a lie. That is total garbage because if you're winning games in this postseason, you are covering the spread. That will be put to the test tonight. Big spread for Boston to cover, but the numbers say if they win, they're going to cover. What says Scal about this game tonight?
So this is like a weird projected score. So the over-under is 201, and the Celtics are favored by 9. So they think the score is going to be like I don't understand this one. What is the projected score here then?
They think the score is going to be like 105-95.
105-95. Yeah, 105-95 basically.
Here's what I'm doing tonight. I'm taking the Celtics in the first quarter. I'm taking Celtics in the first half. And let me ask you, the one quarter that I love right now, right this minute, is the third quarter. Regardless of what the score is there a way to bet the third quarter before the game starts?
Yes.
You're the best degenerate friend that I have. I swear to you, you are so great at being a degenerate. Okay, so explain to me how
last night with the Warriors. I bet the Warriors total over in the third quarter because the third quarters tend to be going over in a lot of those Warriors-Mavs games. So total 49.5. Boston's favored by 2.5. That's the spread in the third quarter.
Oh, I am wait. 49.5. That means both teams can I even go one step further and say the Celtics are going to hit their number and the Celtics are going to cover their spread? Is that even a possibility?
Yes. Plus
of course it is.
Plus 256 for Boston to cover the spread in the first half and for the third quarter to go over. Sorry, third quarter spread, third quarter total over. Yes.
Wait. I don't think maybe I asked the wrong question. What is Boston's total in the third? What if Miami has 8 points in the third quarter? That's what I want to know. I basically think Boston is going to crack the code in the third quarter, and they're going to cover the spread. They're going to but they could shut down Miami. Miami, they had 2 field goals in the third quarter, and it could be too much for them. So I'm looking at the third quarter as the money quarter. So can I
third quarter home team total 25.5 at FanDuel. Over 25.5.
Over that and cover the spread. I'm looking at the Celtics to survive the onslaught. Now the only thing that could happen is Miami just taps out, but then the over would still cover. If Miami taps out in the first half, I could still see Boston scoring, and they have a bunch of. It becomes like a buck hit.
I like that third quarter team total a lot. So the highest scoring total in the NBA playoffs has been the third quarter in most games. In the Warriors-Mavericks series, that's definitely been the case. I haven't looked specifically in the Boston-Miami series, but I like it. Makes sense to me.
That's right.
I do too. Yeah. Scal, I want to ask you about a couple props that I'm currently on right now. So the two that I'm looking at are Jimmy Butler under 22.5 points. It's at -110. You just look at Miami and their offense, what they've done. They're averaging 81 points the last 2 games, and they're having a hard time at this point finding offense. And you look at Jimmy Butler, he only had 27 points combined in the last 3 games. He's gone 10 of 40 from the field, 1 of 7 from deep. And the total is high considering how he's been shooting the last 3 games. Would you lean over or under 22.5 for Jimmy Butler?
So if Kyle Lowry plays, I would lean towards the under. If Kyle Lowry does not play, I would be real hesitant to make that bet. It's just he's gonna Jimmy Butler just ends up having the ball in his hands. He ends up getting to the free throw line. He ends up like picking up those points. But my eyes would be on Kyle Lowry. You mentioned in the last 3 games. What else did that coincide with Kyle Lowry's return?
Yeah, so, Kyle Lowry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like Jimmy Butler's great when Kyle Lowry's out, and it's not like they don't play well together. It's just Kyle Lowry's more of a facilitator towards other people. Jimmy Butler's not a catch and shoot, not an off-ball player where the rest of those guys are. So I would keep my eye on that. But if Kyle Lowry all of a sudden taps out, I'm all over that. I think it's spot on. I think that's where I would go. But I would keep my eye out on Kyle Lowry.
And then the other one I was looking at is Jaylen Brown over 3.5 threes. And I know I've done a lot of Tatum over 3.5 threes, but this Jaylen Brown one, it's at plus 140 on FanDuel. And I just look like Udoka's going to want to keep the foot on the gas with his players, like all gas, no break. And you look at Jaylen Brown, he's hit at least 4 threes in 3 of 5 games this series. He's shooting 43.6% from deep. And throughout all postseason, he's hit about 40% of his threes, and he's shooting 6.6 per game. I just don't think he's going to cool off in this one tonight.
That's interesting because, so I agree. It's funny when he just goes into Jaylen Brown catch and shoot mode. How good is he?
Yeah.
Like it's amazing, right? And so I do feel like when I watch Miami's defense, I do feel like they want him to take those shots. Like they're fine. They're like focusing on Tatum and they're focusing on other guys and they're focusing on being physical. But it seems like Jaylen Brown's the guy that gets free and loose. So it'll be nice if they can bottle up what Jaylen Brown did in the second half, the 19 points and 0 turnovers, and play throughout in this way. And I really do like that bet. There's not where's a world in which I see Jaylen Brown in this Miami series not shooting over that, not making that many threes.
Yeah.
It would have to be like sort of like a point where Jaylen Brown is not getting the ball, and I still feel like the way that Miami's guarding him, they're fine with him. Getting open, getting free. So I would play that as well.
Yeah. Okay, now we have 4 red hot Philly propers. I'm going to throw them at both of you guys. 15, 20 seconds, over, under. Scal, Al Horford, over, under 10.5 points.
Oh, over. He's tasting the NBA Finals. He's got so close. He's never got over the hump. Today he's going to be ready for it. Of any guy that's going to be ready for the moment, it's Al Horford, who has gone his whole career without making the finals. He's ready. I'm taking the over.
Jared?
How can I argue that? Over. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
How can I disagree
Bam
with
Adebayo.
Like the guy's on fire, and I'm like an NBA square.
Yeah, perfect. We'll go with Scal. Bam Adebayo, over under 9.5 rebounds.
Ooh, Jared, you take this one first.
Hold on, let me look at Bam's trends. Give me a second to pull this up.
Just watch the game.
I know. See, that's the thing. You watch the games. I look at the numbers on the screen. He's gone over 2 of his last 3. See, I think Boston at home is going to just make a bunch of shots. I feel very comfortable. So I'll go under on Bam.
Bam might get caught up in guarding more of the perimeter.
Yeah.
He might switch a lot more, which takes him out of rebounding position. I'll say under.
Marcus Smart, over under 5.5 assists, Scal.
Oh. Ooh, so if you're playing your Jaylen Brown,
so
if you're playing your Jaylen Brown prop of 3.5 threes, he'll get 2 of those. Yeah. Al Horford over 10.5. We can't do one without the other. We'll be hypocrites. If we're betting over Jaylen Brown threes and we're betting over Al Horford, then we have to bet over on Marcus Smart. But he is banged up, and Derek White has been taking his minutes.
Derek White's been really good.
You have another one? Can I just pass on that? It's not.
You can pass. I have one more.
You know the 8 ball? You shake the 8 ball, you look. It is unclear right now.
Yeah. Okay, the last one. Tatum, over under 3.5 threes. This is one I've been betting quite often, actually.
Over under 3.5 threes. I'll say over. I think he is a legacy player, and legacy players kind of show up for this. So I would say 4 threes for him, and 4 threes for Brown?
It's a lot.
I'm going to say under on
the total is really low in this game. It's really tough to bet a lot of overs on props, unless it's like rebounds or steals or blocks.
No, turnovers. You can bet the over. I'll say under on Tatum. Yeah.
Under Tatum.
I
Okay.
actually
can bet turnovers.
When
You
I
really
get the
can.
email, what do you
Jason
like,
did it
Scout?
right
And
now.
I'm on DraftKings and I'm looking, and I keep imagining this just being like more of a defensive battle. I really think that Eric Spoelstra should open up the floor and try to like get into a shootout with the Celtics. I really believe that is the way. By the way, when you're like playing so hard defensively and battling on the boards, you got no energy to like shoot the ball. So I feel like that's the reason why Miami can't score is because they're fighting so hard defensively and playing so hard. So if I'm Eric Spoelstra and I'm trying to win, I think I'm opening it up. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's going to happen, but I thought that the over was going to hit last time and it didn't because I thought Spoelstra opened up and they went the other way. So yeah. The only thing I like is the third quarter Celtics. The over.
That's the bet. That's the bet today, Scal.
That is the
We're doing it, Scal.
That is
Scal.
the winner chicken dinner.
I love it.
Winner.
I've been behind the scenes figuring out if I'm going to change it to my play of the day, and yeah, I'm going to. So there's your. They even in the game the other night they scored 32 in the third quarter.
I know. That's the bet.
Scal,
that's the bet.
That is
best
the bet.
of luck to your Celtics tonight. Keeping our fingers crossed that they get this thing done in 6, and then we see a solid NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and your Boston Celtics. Can't even wait. We'll be talking to you in like 2 more days, so don't miss us too much. We'll see you then. Hopefully on the other side of a Celtics win.
We're loving the third quarter, baby. Third quarter. You know what?
Third quarter.
We got 3 fingers, baby. Third quarter. See you guys.
That was Brian Scalabrine rooting for the Celtics tonight. Third quarter, baby. All gas, no break. Speaking of all gas, no break, the Edmonton Oilers last night in overtime. Jesus, they were phenomenal. They were obviously down. They come back and they have 3 goals in the second period. Then they come out in overtime, and I mean, who gets it done? The one and only Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. They're doing what they do best. We obviously lost that bet last night, which super sorry about that. I really thought the Flames were going to come out and push this series to Game 6, but they did not get that done. The Oilers now moving on to the Western Conference Finals, Jared.
Yeah, our Flames' future dies a slow death, and
our
sadly,
Flames' future blew out last night.
He blew out the candles like it's your birthday.
We blew out the Flames last night.
Extinguished. Yeah, so my last remaining future is now the Hurricanes. I have a half a unit on them at I think 14-1. I'll be honest, I think that's a dead stick too. I don't think there's any universe that the Lightning are not in the Stanley Cup Finals again.
There's no chance.
There's no chance that the Lightning are not in the Stanley Cup Finals. And we'll go from there. We'll see what the point is. I will say this. Yeah, that's true. Jack just said the Rangers can still win the series. I'll be honest. So I'm not on the show tomorrow, but if I was, my play of the day would be Rangers money line or 3-way money line or however.
1,000%.
So we are going to bet the Rangers tomorrow.
Every single home team in all of the Canes series so far have won. Although
I tried to we tried to get cute last night and bet the Rangers, and it just blew up on our faces. Although to be fair,
it wasn't cute.
It was not cute. It was a hot mess. They had the lead, and then the overturned goal, and then it just they went on the PK, and Carolina finally got a power play goal, and that was pretty much the difference in the game because the Rangers played
and the fact that the Rangers only generated 17 shots on. The fact that the Rangers, Jared, only generated 17 shots on goal, that's pathetic. They need to get something going offensively.
But I think they will be better tomorrow.
My under hit, which I'm totally fine with. But now we're moving on to today. We have the Avs taking on the Blues. The Blues have an opportunity for the second straight time to close out this series and move on to the Western Conference Finals against the Edmonton Oilers. I have multiple bets on this game tonight. I was leaning the Avs 3-way money line. I am now betting it differently, but I will get to that in a little bit because that is my best bet of the day. But the one bet that I know that we're both on is the over 6.5. I'll let you go first. I'll add on to what you have to say.
So this series is heating up. 25 goals in the last 3 games. All 3 games have gone over easily. And part of it is because the Avs and the Blues, I think, are good offensive teams. But I think the other part of it is poor goaltending. Kemper's got a -2.5 goals saved above expected in the postseason. Husso is even worse at -5.7. And also, these teams have great special teams units, top 2 power play units in the postseason. Now, the one thing that is interesting to me, besides the sense of urgency and the early goalie pull and all those things, you can make a case that the Blues offense has actually been better in this series than the Avs. There's been more explosive plays by the Avs. I think top to bottom, the Avs are deeper. But the line of Buchnevich, O'Reilly, and Perron have been unbelievable in this series. They actually have been better than any other line that the Avs have put out there. They actually have the 5th highest expected goal percentage in the entire postseason of any line, including the McDavid line, the Draisaitl line, the Crosby line, all those lines. So you can make a case that the Blues offense has really been the driving force for why they're in this series. And I think 6.5 is a fair number. So over 6.5 to me is a good bet at -115 over at the Westgate. And I'm sure you're going to echo a lot of those same thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado is 5-0 in their last 5 games against the Blues in St. Louis. And the over is also cashed in every single one of those games. So basically, and then I also look at the goaltending. When you look at a guy like Darcy Kemper, he's allowed 8 total goals in the last 2 games. Ville Husso has allowed 4 more goals in each of his last 5 starts. He has an 88.4 save percentage right now, and he's had trouble against the Colorado offense. So with a guy like Ville Husso allowing 4 more goals every single game, and Darcy Kemper, 8 goals total allowed in the last 2 games, that averages out to 4. If you do the math correctly in your head, beautiful math person, that is about 8 goals per game, which is a goal and a half above the total for this game. Both offenses are phenomenal. I mean, they both finished in the top 4 in the regular season in terms of goals scored per game. I've said that a few times before when I'm betting the overs for these games. But all of the last 5 games between the Blues and Colorado Avalanche in St. Louis have gone over the total. So I like the over 6.5 here. I think both offenses are going to get rolling. The goaltending is not the best that I've seen, so they're going to be able to get a few pucks past, but I still think the Avs get this thing done, which leads us to our best bets of the day. But before we do, Jared, Pickswise.com, who is our 3-star play of the day?
I think you're going to like it. It's a total in the Avs Blues game by Chadwick Wetzel. Take a wild guess what it is. Also, Keith Schmelter always gets a shout out anytime he has a 3-star play because the dude is a 3-star machine in Major League Baseball. He has a play on the Astros-Mariners game tonight. I have already locked it in. The best price that I could find is at the Westgate, but I will let you go check it out. Pickswise.com, 3-star plays. We got 2 of them, 1 hockey, 1 baseball. I like them both. I'm betting them both. I recommend you bet them as well.
I like them both. Okay, let's just get right into my best bet of the day, and that's the Avs puck line. And it's at plus money, plus 134. I just look like the Avs, again, have a second chance to eliminate the Blues from the NHL postseason. They failed to get the job done at home in Game 5. A Nathan McKinnon hat-trick wasn't enough. But you look at the stats. Colorado controlled 60% of the shot attempts at 5-on-5 in the series. The Avs are the more talented team, but there are a few things to worry about. The fact that Darcy Kemper has allowed 8 total goals over the last 2 games, that worries me a little bit. But you look at the stats of the Avs playing at Enterprise Center in St. Louis. So far, they've won both games at Enterprise Center. They're 4-0 in their last 4 postseason road games overall. Also 5-0 in their last 5 games against the Blues in St. Louis. And I mentioned that the over is cashed in every single one of those games. The Avs also respond extremely well, Jared, after losses. They're 10-2 in their last 12 games after allowing 5 goals or more the game before. Guess how many goals they allowed the game before? 10-2. I like those stats. You love to see that resiliency from them again tonight. I think they're going to punch their ticket to the Western Conference Finals. Even though I'm a little worried about Kemper, the St. Louis Blues should be even more worried about Ville Husso, who's allowed 4 more goals in each of his last 5 starts, having an 88.4 save percentage. That's not great against the Colorado offense that can really get going lines 1 through 4. I know the Avs blew a late lead in Game 5. I think they're going to blow St. Louis out of the water tonight, just like the Oilers did the Flames flame last night. And they're going to move on to the Western Conference Finals. Avs puck line, they're going to get that backdoor cover with an empty net goal towards the end of the game, plus 134. It's either going to be the backdoor cover for my puck line or they're just absolutely going to blow the St. Louis Blues out of the water and really want to get this thing done and win by like 5 goals. So it's either going to be a really close game, get the backdoor empty net cover, or it's going to be like 8-1. I don't know which one it's going to be. Give me the first 5 minutes of the game, Jared, to decide what that's going to be. But either way, my puck line is going to cover it plus 134.
I love it. That was a really, really solid handicap. And I hope the Avs win by 1 million tonight, because we've got our Avs series spread bet. Avs by 1 million. We've got our series spread bet. Avs minus 1.5.
Can I also make one more statement? Every single game has been decided by more than 2 goals so far in this series too. So
yeah, and listen, we've discussed it at length. The NHL Overtime Challenge, while overall it's going to be down this year, has taught us a lot about this postseason. Actually, I don't know for sure if it's going to be down, because, of course, we stopped betting it 2 nights ago, and then 2 out of the last 3 games have gone to overtime. So hold the phone on it being down for the whole postseason. It's hovering in the down territory, but it's not fully out yet. It's not fully extinguished like the Flames are. But what has it taught us? The average margin of victory in this postseason has been significantly higher than last postseason. More games are being decided by 2 or more goals. Puck lines, alternate puck lines, the 3-way money lines, those have been the way to play the games individually, not just laying it on the regular money line price. You are making a good bet, I think, if you're laying goals in these playoff games, if you pick the winning team, because the winning team more often than not is winning by more than 1 goal. So I think that is a great strategy, and that's been the theme of this postseason so far. All right. My play of the day, we kind of alluded to it already with Scal. I'm not going to change anything, despite the fact that he had a rough game the other night with Boston and Miami, and he kind of got that one wrong. We have been relying on our NBA analysts all postseason to steer us in the right direction. More often than not, they have done that. I am up, I think, over 5 units in the playoffs so far. And again, you guys know me. We've been doing the show for almost a year now. I'm not this sharp NBA better with all this great inside knowledge. I rely on people I trust, and I trust Scout. Boston Celtics team total over 25.5 in the third quarter. The lock will be picked at halftime by this Celtics lineup and their coaching staff. The adjustments will be made. Even in the game 5, where it was like the ugliest, just disgusting game to bet an over, the Celtics still scored 32 points in the third quarter. Way over what they needed to in this particular bet. They're at home too, which I think will help them even more. I know the total is low, but I think if there is going to be a over quarter in the postseason, it's been the third quarter after the adjustments are made. So we'll ride that tonight. Minus 115 at FanDuel. Scal gets back on track. The Celtics are going to win this series tonight. Jason Tatum's going to be the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. We're going to hit our series bet. We're going to hit our Jason Tatum bet. We're going to hit our third quarter bet with the Celtics. And we're going to have a hell of a Memorial Day weekend. Let's go.
Let's do it, baby. It's a freaking weekend, and that's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith. I'm Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, you guys. Go Avs. Look at, I got my little thing there. Let's go. Well, let's get it. Let's bet it.